right, back again with the one and only Bob. And today we're going to do a quick little review of what we read last time. We started talking about the shelter. Bob and Julia are on their walk to go see Ivan and Ruby. And remember, he was doing like this full body wag. He was so excited to go and to see them. He misses them. He says that it's really only been a couple days since he's seen them, but he just really misses them. So he's super excited. They don't live very far, just kind of down the block. So pretty close, just kind of nice. And they walk by the animal shelter on the way. And Bob says this is probably the worst part of it all. He hates going by the animal shelter. It just tugs at his heart. Sometimes he's like, some people probably, they did it to themselves to be in there. But most of the time he's like, I feel bad for them. He doesn't like that. He's got a soft spot, really. He doesn't feel like everybody deserves to be in this animal shelter. He tells us the story about meeting this big dog named Julius, a big mutt lab golden mix, he says, and he lived in a backyard. Winter, spring, summer, fall, this dog Julius was always locked up, in a chain in the backyard. And his owner, that word that Bob does not like very much, his owner came out one day because he was barking and basically kicked him very hard. And Julius, felt really bad about barking and causing him to kick him. He thought it was his fault. And, he was just basically like, well, he's my owner. I mean, I forgive him because he's my owner, because that's what we do as dogs. We just forgive our owners for treating us like that because that's what we are supposed to do. And that confuses Bob. He doesn't understand that. Just forgive people for treating you bad. That doesn't make sense to him. So forgiveness is a word that, he can do, but it's because he says it's written into our canine souls. But Bob did not get that memo. He says it's not easy for him to come by. He enjoys the art of human watching. He enjoys that. He says that he can follow the owner's gazes anywhere and see anything before they do. They can even see a glazed donut and eat it before their owner even sees it. So then he talks about puppy eyes. The weather service has remembered this hurricane is coming, but out of hurricanes can come tornadoes. So a tornado watch has been issued. By the time they get to the place to see Ivan and Ruby, but all Bob has to do is give those puppy eyes, and everybody says, okay, Julia's dad says, okay, you have 10 minutes to go see Ivan and Ruby, and then meet me right back here. Okay? So we're going to start with this next chapter. It is called Change. The park's pretty big, lots of twisty paths and fascinating smells. All the parts have names. There's the African Aviary, the Outback, Penguin Cove, Lemurland. It's like puzzle pieces of the world. A little Africa here, a little Asia there. Dogs, you can find us pretty much everywhere. Our territory is Earth, as long as we're hooked up with humans, that is. Along the shady paths, volunteer guides will answer your questions. They'll tell you about how animals used to roam one part of the world or another until all things changed. Things changed. That's one thing I figured out. Don't ever assume a little patch of the planet belongs to you. Things change and boxes go flying. My inner wolf. On our way, we always stop by the wolf habitat. Julia loves wolves, probably because they remind her of me. You have to look hard, maybe squint a little, but if you try, you can catch a hint of my inner wolf. It's in the eyes mostly, also in my distinguished profile. I dream I'm a wolf sometimes, and when I wake up, I'm panting and my fur's on alert, and I'm feeling, the world could hurt me, but I could hurt the world right back, even harder. Like there's a dangerous part of me chained inside, struggling to go free and just, get even. Then I go see what's for breakfast. So then he comes to reality, wants to eat, go see what's for breakfast. Next chapter, Kimu. There's a gray wolf at the park who makes me a little jittery. Jittery, as in I sometimes worry he might like to eat me. His name is Kimu, and we struck up a conversation when a mutual acquaintance of ours, a mockingbird called Mitch, introduced us one day. Like Nitwit, Mitch likes to taunt me because I'm domesticated. Gives me a lot of grief about how free he is, soaring stringless over the whole town. I'm not the only one who's pampered, I said one day. I mean, look at Kimu. He's not exactly running wild. As soon as he heard the words out of my mouth, I regretted them. And when I looked at Kimu, when I looked at Kimu's "I could kill you with one quick bite" expression, I really regretted those words. In any case, I said, moving the subject right along, I've lived wild. It ain't a picnic for a dog. Well, what's it like? Kimu asked. He moved closer to the edge of his domain. He had a strange odor, intense and scary and a little bit intoxicating. Well, I was just a pup, I said, abandoned by the side of a highway. Kimu was listening intently. Must have been tough. All I could think of was food and water. I didn't like the catch in my voice. Owl got me. Those guys are fierce, Kimu said. Can't hear them coming. I know, right? I relaxed just a little. I hate owls, said Mitch. Hate them with a passion. They eat birds, you know. So do wolves, said Kimu, giving Mitch a meaningful look. So you were wild once? I asked Kimu. Never. Born and raised in captivity, Suzu over there, she was. She's told us stories that would curl your fur. Honestly, it's nice to have a roof over my head. It's tough out there, man. Really tough. I suppose, said Kimu. I looked at him, and for the first time, I wondered if I really did have any wolf in me. He was a majestic animal with teeth that could shred a tree trunk. I am also majestic, but more portable, with teeth that could manage a pencil with enough time and effort. Hey, Bob, Mitch said. Do dogs howl the way wolves do? Well, of course we do. So let's hear something. A duet, maybe? He fluttered his wings, revealing startling patches of white. Do you know Talk to Animals? They play that on the carousel. Go away, Mitch, said Kimu, with just the right amount of menace in his voice. Come on, just a little howling. Pretend there's a moon. Pretend you're free. Pretend... Kimu growled, and so did I. He was pretty impressive. Guttural made deep, and it spoke of death and dismemberment and all kinds of unpleasant bird nightmares. I growled too. It spoke of me being mildly peeved. Still, Mitch got the message. He disappeared in a blur of wings. Actually, I've never howled at the moon, I admitted. Me neither, said Kimu. I feel kind of silly doing it here. Enrichment. We're almost to my favorite spot in the park. The great thing for me is that one corner of Gorilla World juts up against Elephant Odyssey, the area where Ruby lives. A low stone wall separates the two spaces, and there's a moat on the elephant side. The sections connect like two slices of pie, and my secret spot is right at the corner where I can hang out with my crew. Ivan and Ruby both have access to indoor habitat, which is great when the weather isn't cooperating. The indoor space for Gorilla ain't bad. I call it the Gorilla Villa. It has tons of ropes and hammocks and branches to climb. Humans watch through a thick wall of glass while the young gorillas run around like kids at recess. But whenever Julie and I visit, we can almost always find Ivan and Ruby outside. We trudge up a little rise, though it isn't much of a hill. We live in a pretty flat part of the world. From there I can see just about everything. The park, the parking lot, the creek. Far beyond that, every now and then I can even catch a glimpse of the ocean. My secret place is a little hard to get to, right near the keeper's shed, nicely hidden by trees and bushes. Under a big magnolia tree, there's a bench shaped like a gorilla holding his arms. Julia likes to sit right there and draw. Sometimes she does her homework, which smells like frustration with a hint of eraser. Whenever I visit, Julia props me up on the stone wall that separates Ruby's world from Ivan's. Visitors can't see me, and the keepers pretend not to see me. If they caught any other dog there, he'd be out in a heartbeat. Ivan and Ruby and I have a history, and I make them happy. I'm what you might call enrichment. At the park, they try to keep the animals engaged with surprises and challenges and changes to their environment. That's what enrichment is all about. The gorillas get watermelons to demolish and boxes to hide in and markers for drawing. The elephants get sprinklers and flavored water and elephant-sized rubber balls. Not exactly like a day in the real jungle, of course, but the keepers try as hard as they can to make life interesting. For Ivan and Ruby, I am the ultimate enrichment. I'm their best pal. Walls and bad guys. Julia takes me out of her backpack and I settle onto the wide stone wall. It's my favorite place on the planet because it means I can see Ivan and Ruby. But I also kind of hate it. Walls will do that to you. Ivan, being Ivan, is a mellow kind of guy. Takes the good with the bad, only gets angry when he really needs to. When I complain about the walls at the park, he says, walls keep the animals in, but they also keep the bad guys out. Of course, gorillas don't have a lot of bad guys to deal with, elephants either, so humans step in to fill the void. Dogs? Sometimes it feels like we have enemies galore. Everyone wants a piece of us. Humans treat us badly, cars really have it in for us. We even get eaten by coyotes, which is kind of like having your cousin invite you over for dinner and then inform you that you're the main course. Although I'd probably just be the appetizer. Anyways, after those 27 years stuck in a mall, Ivan is one of those glass half full kind of guys when it comes to the walls surrounding him. Glad to be with the others of his own kind, cared for by smart and loving humans. I'm more of a water bowl of power, half empty kind of guy. Every time I leave Ivan and Ruby, I am painfully aware that I can leave. Ivan's address is Gorilla World. Ruby's is Elephant Odyssey. And me? I guess my address is the same as Julia and George and Sarah's. 1249 Hinman Avenue. I mean, of course it is. I've been living there for a whole year now. It is. And yet sometimes I still wake up at night and think, I gotta find shelter, I gotta find safety, I gotta find food, somewhere to belong. I guess I don't want to get too comfortable. Gift. Once I'm in my spot, I don't have to do a thing because Ivan and Ruby always know when I'm there. Gorillas and elephants have great snozzes too. Also, I pride myself on staying extra fragrant. It's a gift. All right, we are gonna stop there and continue next time. Really hope you guys are enjoying it so far. Have a good afternoon. Bye, guys.